Welcome to the Phasing, Groups, and Design Options video presentation. A typical example of using the phasing tool is when you have an existing building that you are modifying. When someone looks at the drawing, they can clearly see the timeline of the project. In the Manage tab, pick Phases in the Phasing panel. For example, I've also worked with extremely large projects that are still in production during construction. The timeline of each portion of new construction to maintain the building's work environment is graphically shown using different line weights, color, and patterns that can be changed in the Graphic Overrides tab. Within the phases, we have elements that are existing, demolished, new, and temporary for temporary scaffolding, fences, and other structures that are temporary then demolished. If you need to represent each phase with a different color, you can select the material and change its color based on the phase. To show you the different tools, we'll go to the Manage tab and pick the Demolish icon and select the windows and the door, and then select a couple of interior walls. Now you can clearly see the existing objects, the new construction, and the objects that are demolished. Let's go to the 3D view and duplicate this view and rename that view Design Option 1. In the Manage tab, we'll pick Design Options and see that there's an option set, and within those option sets there are options. You can have several option sets in one drawing. Let's pick the New button and create our set. Highlight Option Set 1 and pick Rename to rename this option set Building Addition. Then pick the New button at the bottom right corner a couple of times to create additional options under the Building Addition set. Notice that option 1 is the primary option. The primary option will be the one that you choose for your design. You can make any of the options primary, and once you're done designing, you can highlight Building Addition and pick Accept Primary. When you do this, all of the other options will be completely deleted, along with any views and associated elements that were a part of those design options. Closing out of this dialog box, go to the main model and edit this floor. We can select the floor and pick Edit Boundary. Let's just make this a little bit bigger, adding 20 feet on both sides so that we can design for a new entrance. We'll pick Finish Edit Mode, and then in the Manage tab we'll change our design option from Main Model to Option 1 Primary. Adding to the mass modeling that we worked with, we're going to create our in-place mass in the project environment. We'll go to the Massing and Site tab and pick In-Place Mass. We can leave the name of this mass as Mass 1 and pick OK. Just like we did inside the mass family, we can start to develop our design. I used a rectangle for the base, but you can modify that shape and use the Level 1 view to modify the footprint of your new entrance. Going back to the 3D view, I can select this shape and pick Create Form. As we did in the families, you can use these shape handles to modify your design. And then pick Finish Mass. We'll go back to the Manage tab and change our option to option 2. In the option 2 design options, we can go to Masking and Site and select In Place Mask and create Mask 2. Your design may look different than mine. I'll use a line and a spline to create my new second design option. Selecting here those objects, I can pick Create Form and pick Finish Mask. In the Manage tab, I'll go back to Design Option 3 and create my third design option for my new entrance. In the Masking and Site tab, I'll pick In Place Mask and create Mask 3. When finished with your own design, pick Finish Mask. You can go back to the Manage tab and check all 3 of your options. If we needed to add additional objects to the options in the main model, which is very similar to option 1 being the primary, we can select that object and in the Manage tab, pick Add to Set to add those objects to the different options. We have all of the options in the Design Options panel, but now we need to create views which will represent each one of those design options. We can duplicate Design Option 1 view a couple of times and then rename those views Design Option 1, Design Option 2, and Design Option 3. In the Design Option 1 view, we can type in VG, and in the Visibility Graphic Overrides, you'll notice a new tab called Design Options. Go ahead and select that tab and then change the automatic design option to option 1, primary. Pick OK, and then open the Design Option 2 view, type in VG, pick the Design Options tab, and make that design option option 2. Pick OK, and the third option, same thing, open the third option, type in VG, go to the Design Options tab, and make that design option 3. Now we're ready to set up our sheet. We can highlight Sheet in the project browser, right-click and pick New Sheet. We'll use the 30 by 42 sheet by default. We'll pick OK, and then drag and drop each one of these options onto our sheet from the project browser, showing all 3 design options in one sheet. Let's rename this sheet Design Options. Going back to the Design Option 1 view, if you're in the main model, you won't have access to that design option until you either make that one the current design option. So now I can select it, or back at the main model, if I select Pick to Edit and then select my mask option, it will automatically give me access to that option 1 setting. Also, typing in VG in the Design Option 1 view, you can control the visibility of your masks for each individual view, but if the Show Mask tool is turned on, then you'll still see your masks. When you're done with your design options and you've decided that Design Option 1 is the final option, you can go to Design Options and accept that primary option as your final option. For this video and course, we'll keep the other design options and develop option 1, setting the design option to option 1 primary in the Design Option panel. And let's take a look at groups. We'll make the level 1 existing and new view current. Notice that the table and chairs are all separate objects. If I select them all, in the Create panel, I can pick Create Group. I can call this Table and Chairs and pick OK. Now, in the project browser, under Groups and Model, you can see Table and Chairs. If you drag and drop this into your drawing, you'll have that group at the end of your pointer. You can place it and left click. we can also nest groups, a group inside a group. So for this table and chair, I'll select it and create a group and keep the name as group 1, and then select here the rest of the furniture along with that table and chair or group 1 and create a group and maintain the group name as 2. Now in the project browser we have the original group 1 and group 2 with group 1 nested inside of it. If we copy this group 2 to the other room here, if we select group 2 and use our tab key, we can tab to this chair, select it, and you'll see a small icon that says group member. Click icon to exclude in this group instant. If you select that icon, you'll notice that the chair temporarily is excluded from the group and not displayed. If you want to get it back, you can highlight that group, use your tab key to select this chair, and pick this small icon to restore the group. Selecting the original group 2 and using your tab key to tab to the nested group 1, we can pick edit group, select the chair, and pick rotate. The base point by default is inside the chair, but we're going to hold our left mouse button down over that base point and bring it to the center of the table, and then rotate the chair. Then pick finish, and notice that because these are both group 2, the copied group also updates to the changes. When you select a group, you have the option of linking that group. Similar to an XREF in AutoCAD, you can create a separate file that this group is linked to. Modifying that separate file will update this group in this Revit file. So I'll go ahead and pick link, and then I'll use the first option, replace with a new project file. I'll call this group group 1, and I'll leave it in the Imperial Library for now. And see the file that it just created? And now when you select that group, it has a solid line around it, and you get different options. To bind the group, bringing it back to the original drawing and separating it from the linked file, and managing your links. The other option for linking groups is to replace it with an existing project file. It removes the group and replaces it with a link to another project file that already exists. I'll go ahead and cancel out of this dialog box. If you just want to save a group as a Revit file without the link, you can highlight it in the project browser, right-click, and pick Save Group. Notice here that you're saving it as a Revit project file. In this video, we created a timeline with phases which represent existing, demolished, and new construction. Then we created 3 design options for our new addition, and finished by taking a look at working with groups.